1, 2, good.
Instead of playing sports like a lot of 6-year-old boys,
Very nice.
Bryson Ackerman is going to weekly therapy sessions trying to get his life back.
Can you get that foot on green? Let's try to reach up for that card. Try to look as you're reaching. Nice job.
The South Fayette first grader used to be very active, but everything changed on October 15th of last year when Bryson was diagnosed with acute flaccid myelitis, or AFM.
Right.
Bryson's mom, Jill, vividly remembers the day he started to feel sick.
We went out to dinner that night, he was fine, and then the middle of the night, Saturday into Sunday, he was up vomiting. Just once that night. The following day, he just laid around on the couch all day. He didn't really want to do anything.
AFM hit Bryson hard. He went back and forth between the PICU at Children's Hospital and inpatient rehab for months.
Great.
Struggling with breathing and partial paralysis.
He wasn't able to walk, he wasn't able to move his head, he wasn't able to use his arms, he wasn't able to sit up, he wasn't able to roll over.
I remember meeting them, and they were in shock.
Dr. Andrew Nowak has seen a number of kids with AFM, including Bryson.
For all of the AFM cases, it was very scary because from one case to another, it was hard to predict what would happen to the child.
And even worse, there's no specific way to treat it because no one seems to know what's causing it.
There's so much we don't know about AFM. It's very, very frustrating. We think it's associated with a family of viruses called enteroviruses, but even this year when the CDC looked, it was not just enteroviruses that seemed to affect the children.
Even more baffling is the pattern of AFM cases. It's popped up in waves over the last 5 years, last year being the worst, with more than 200 confirmed cases in 40 states.
Here you go, right back over.
Take your time. That's it. Be careful. A little bit higher. Good. Step down.
Bryson finally came home a few weeks ago, but the work is not over. During his therapy sessions, he first meets with an occupational therapist.
So strong.
What's next?
All right, let's go. Miss Kristen has a ball for you.
Then it's time for physical therapy.
I want you to look straight ahead. You're going to count to 5. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
He also meets with a personal trainer a few times a week. And after being on a feeding tube for an extended period of time, Bryson's also learning how to eat again. He lost 15 pounds, a lot for a 6-year-old boy, but he's already gained most of that back. What Bryson says he's missed the most throughout this journey?
I miss being on the higher hoops.
On the higher basketball hoops.
His mom hopes he'll get back there someday, but she knows he still has a long way to go.
All they really tell us is it's going to be a marathon, not a sprint.
It's the only full-service grocery store in the Hill. Come next month, it's closing its doors.
I'm very upset about this.
I'll have to come down, go to Johnny, go on the south side.
I'm sad that it's going to close. It's convenient for the senior citizens.
If you didn't have this store here, you had to go to a lot of those little stores in the Hill District, A+ for items and stuff like that, which is prices a lot higher.
A major inconvenience and disappointment for the Hill District.
The need for a grocery store.
But Mayor Bill Peduto is offering a glimmer of hope, saying he's looking for another grocery store to move in.
We have been in discussions with another operator about taking over that space. We are going to work to maintain and to keep a grocery store in the Hill District.
Peduto isn't saying what store he's talking with, but Shop and Save shoppers have a suggestion.
I thought maybe Aldi's might want to come here because they are a really good organization, well run.
And Peduto believes it won't be too difficult to fill a ready-made store.
A lot of the costs associated with it are brick and mortar and setting up the store. Those costs have already been taken care of. It's the question of whether or not they'd be willing to open a store in the Hill District.
So kind of a changing situation here for the last several hours in the city of Duquesne. We were originally told that about 50 to 75 homes would be without water throughout the night. However, about 9 o'clock, we got the good news. Crews were able to make some repairs, and that is not the case. So they called off the water buffalo that was on its way here to the municipal building. However, that sheared off hydrant, that's still a big problem, and it's something that has the fire department here on alert. It all happened in a split second. A hydrant sheared from its base, and then immediately water gushing from the ground. It stayed this way for nearly 2 hours.
I seen the fire trucks, I seen the police all down there.
Anita Shanley is one of dozens of homeowners in the area of Wool and Mahaffey Streets impacted by the break.
Yeah, I'm gonna go buy water. I was gonna run up to the store now because it looks a little brownish, and we don't want to drink that.
And as thousands of gallons flowed down the street, a few homes took on water in the basements. And until they got the hydrant fixed.
And also we'll have a tanker assignment that's already on alarm. It'll be dispatched if anything happens as far as fire-wise. They'll be automatically rolling to cover for the water pressure and the water loss.
Shortly before 8 o'clock, crews had turned off the main and stopped the gushing water.
Well, that's a 6-inch line.
Now a challenging repair job lies ahead. So in addition to the quick work by all of those crews there at the scene, there is one more thing that the chief tells me he is absolutely grateful for tonight. That is the temperature here outside. You can imagine what a dangerous mess that would be if it iced over. We're in Duquesne tonight. Kim Gable, KDKA News.
With no telling how long it's going to be before power comes back on, many residents in the city's Wind Gap section just needed to get out of their homes.
And we were stuck here. We had no power for over 6 hours and still no power now.
We're going to try and keep warm. That's the only thing we can do right now because the temperatures are dropping, the wind is still picking up, it's just blowing all crazy.
Earlier, they tried to warm the house with candles but gave up. It was simply too cold. Outside, the relentless winds were still blowing.
They cut the tree up and the wires and everything are going to stay down until tomorrow, I
For
guess.
Dana Rome, not only does she have a young son, but an infant daughter, and staying in the dark wasn't an option. Her house was hit hard by winds and the falling trees.
There's the bricks out of my house, like the side of my house. There's a big hole in my house.
I mean, I was scared at first because I didn't know if this would ever happen.
With not only the power out, Sunday's high winds took down large, daunting pines, which in turn took down utility lines and cable lines, causing a dangerous mess of cables all over the street.
The other neighbor's tree went down.
West End resident Douglas was virtually stuck inside his home when the trees and lines came down.
Oh, I didn't come out of my house because these wires were probably live. You know, they were live.
Harlow Street in the West End dead ends, but utility crews were at least able to clear the roadway for cars, which means residents can get to work in the morning. And we saw the first signs of crews in the bucket trucks trying to restore power tonight. It was too windy to go up earlier in the day.
The relentless wind found the most vulnerable trees, which became electric line assassins throughout the weekend, last night, and it hasn't stopped.
As we continue to see outages, tree limbs, trees still coming down.
The outages forced schools to delay, or in the case of Schiller Elementary School in Spring Garden, close its doors altogether due to lack of power. All over the region, the powerful winds wreaked havoc. And for thousands, it has been a powerless 24 hours and more.
Some of our eastern districts are hit pretty hard. The Penn Hills area was hit pretty badly, as well as some of the North Hills area.
That's where disappointed customers found this Sheetz in Ross Township closed today. Sheetz brought in a generator to preserve what it could, with plans to reopen as soon as the power was restored. They haven't been so lucky at Trader Joe's in East Liberty, where they spent the day today throwing out perishables by the pallet load.
Can't buy bad food, yeah.
When the power went out yesterday afternoon, the Trader Joe's management scrambled to see what they could save. Without power, there was little hope for the temperature-sensitive merchandise. So they did what they could, giving 10 pallets of food to the local food bank. But that's all their coolers and freezers could handle. Inside the store, customers could not help but notice today as employees improvised to cover the unsellable.
It was paper bags and boxes over top all the frozen food.
I feel good that they're transparent and honest about it, that they're not selling stuff which might have been affected.
With the power back on and a truckload of new perishables, the store was open today, but the manager tells me it could take several days before the store returns to normal.
He was up there painting, and he had his brush out. He must have been cutting in the door jamb and just stepped back a little too far and went all the way down from the top down to the basement. He said, "Thank you, thank God. Somebody finally came."
Mike Greer told me he had been working on another project in downtown Pittsburgh when he realized he left some tools on Mount Washington that he needed.
I heard banging and someone screaming.
This is new construction, and each of the houses on Republic Street will have an elevator.
Right, and I looked over and I saw the guy laying there, and he said, "Help, I can't move." And I immediately called 911.
They were able to pull the paramedic truck, back it in here, and right to here, so they carry him right out.
Paul Wacker lives next door to the new construction. He says he had gotten to know the victim pretty well.
He comes in, there's no water next door, so they got to clean their brushes and everything. So they come in here. He comes in and says hi and everything else. Good. He even did my walk for me the other day when it snowed that heavy snow because I wasn't up yet.
Construction was stopped for the day, and many of the workers left to go to the hospital with the victim.
He's alert, but we're not sure anything else till we get out.